How am I doing again? Alright, okay. So, hey, welcome to It's a Good Day to Make Comics. Brought to you by Goodday Cultured Milk and myself. Recently, Goodday has been asking different creatives to kind of talk about how they do what they do, and they recently approached me if I could make a series about making comics. So, here we are. So the first thing I feel anyone should know if they decide to make comics is that they should know what a comic is. A comic is commonly defined as an arrangement of images in a sequence used to tell a story. That's why it's sometimes called sequential imagery. It's a combination of two different disciplines where it's writing and art. And sometimes that can be intimidating, where if you're an artist and you don't know how to write, you might think, I can't tell a story. Or if you're a writer who can't draw, you might think, oh, I can't make comics. But where I see that there's an overlap between art, comics, and words is that they're actually just symbols at work. Symbols are representations, or they are simplifications of things real and imaginary. Like we see it in our emojis, in our books, in our signs. We see symbols everywhere. With words, symbols are at work because of the letters. Letters comprise of different lines that are supposed to represent sound. When you put letters together, they make words. When you put words together, they make sentences. They make ideas. With art, it is about how you can depict symbols in different ways. And with comics, it's those symbols meeting together to kind of tell a story, where you have several images that depict something and words that depict what is happening. So, yeah. The thing about symbols that I feel like people should understand is how they work. And they rely on memory and imagination. So now that we've established that art, comics, and words are symbols at work, let's establish how they work. So how symbols work is that they rely on memory, because you kind of have to have context for something in order to understand what it might be. Like how we all have different languages and different alphabets. If you don't understand these, you don't know. And how you understand these is that you encounter it, you memorize it. So that's how symbols rely on memory. Because do you remember the first time you've ever encountered a certain emoji and you didn't know what it was? Yeah. So with imagination is because these symbols sometimes don't look like any of the things that we want them to be, but because we are people who can imagine things or try to put things together, these are somewhat suddenly they mean what they are intended to mean, or sometimes they need to just kind of be understood as this means that. So let's try to look at some symbols at work. One thing about the human mind is that when presented with anything, it will try to understand it. So it helps that when someone reads your work, they will always try to figure out what you're trying to say. So let's take, for example, these three squares and these three circles. They are just circles and squares, but because I arranged them in a certain way, your brain tries to understand, is it trying to tell a story? Is it something? And now it seems like it's a ball bouncing. Now, if I add a few letters to it, oh wow, the ball is now alive. So yeah, comics are symbols at work if you know how to arrange them, if you know what to use to kind of depict what you're trying to get across. It'll be really useful in what you're trying to say and what you're trying to do. Hopefully this makes comics less daunting, where it's actually just about knowing the right things to put on a page. So yeah, how I feel about this whole thing is kind of like the chef in Ratatouille. Not the rat chef or the human chef, the rat pilots, but it's that Chef Gusteau character, where it's anyone can make comics. Kind of like how anyone can cook. So yeah, this is part 1. Part 2 is coming out next week. It'll be about time and space in comics, so check that out if this interested you. But yeah, hopefully this will make you want to try making comics at the end of the series. So yeah, thank you and have a good day.